This has been a long time coming. Josiah's had his time, but he's not here today. That's right. I'm not doing the All the Small Things exclusive because I already did that. You can listen to that at patreon.com/155pod, something like that. No one types in a URL. I've said this before. This is Jawbreaker. No matter what Josiah says, this month is all about me. And in keeping with the meanness of this month, I am joined by someone with whom I share a tremendous amount of DNA. It is my own sister, Suzanne Sutherland. Welcome to the pod. Longtime listener, first-time guest. Do I have to call you Suzanne in this context also?
I think it's fine. I think you can call me whatever.
All right. I'm just going to call you a nerd. Susie is here because you went to school for words and books, right?
This is true. Book studies, proud graduate of the University of Toronto, the first University of Toronto.
Yeah, that's right. The original University of Toronto. I am the graduate of the lesser University of Toronto, obviously previously named after a bad man, now changed its name to U of T2. This is banter that is only for people who have followed changes in post-secondary in Canada and our slow trudge towards reconciling with our Indigenous population. So, Susie, you do literally have a degree in book studies, right? That is what you that's what you paid to go to school for, right?
It was my minor, in all fairness. Book studies only. I was an English major,
right?
Which explains why I have a job today. I was a sociology and a book and media studies minor, so I am an expert in all media. You are welcome. Happy Jawbreaker to you.
Well, that's why you're here, because not only are you, I think, a bigger Jawbreaker fan than I am, to the point where you've been texting me and telling me I'm a fucking liar as you've been listening to this. You are actually a true sicko in that you have grown up with me, punishing you for your entire life, and yet you listen to this podcast, which I don't understand, and I don't think your husband understands either. And we like each other.
I mean, truly astonishing. I feel like Dumpweed was my first episode. And
that's the first episode.
And for some reason I continued on. Oh, great. Oh,
yeah. God, no, you've been here since the beginning. So this is, again, a long time coming. But of course, because we're talking about the hyperliterate, and by the way, this is not a troll. So we are actually talking about Jawbreaker behind the paywall. You really are a book studies major. You work in literature. You are a published author. And as we are talking about the hyperliterate squatter bard himself, Blake Schwarzenbach, this month, it seemed it behooved us to have you on to talk about the literary side of Jawbreaker. But also, this is a bit of an apology episode. So before we go behind the paywall, we should address the elephant in the room, which is that I don't think you knew that we were doing Jawbreaker, but all of a sudden you see in your podcast feed, oh, my brother's podcast is doing Jawbreaker songs this month. And the first episode is The Boat Dreams from the Hill. Why were you irked in that moment, Suzanne, published author, Suzanne Sutherland?
I only wrote a whole fucking book about that song.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I was like, this song's great. Anyway, here's somebody else. So you have a book that includes its epigraph is The Boat Dreams from the Hill. It informs the entire book. And I just ignored that because you don't have a weekly podcast that I listen to, unfortunately.
Real huge gaffe on your part. I'm very happy to be part of this penance pod now. At one time, this is it. It was the working title for that book was The Boat Dreams from the Hill, because I am very bad at coming up with titles for books because it's hard.
And that's honestly a good name for a title. Like I was like, I would have read that book. I was like, well, I did read the book. It just, then when it came time for me to talk for 2 hours about myself, I neglected to mention it because I am selfish and a terrible older brother. But as we go behind the paywall now, we can talk about your book, which is informed by The Boat Dreams from the Hill. But we will also talk about other books about Jawbreaker, inspired by Jawbreaker, the world of the hyperliterate squatter bard. Would you describe yourself as a hyperliterate squatter bard? All those words are losing meaning for me, by the way.
I mean, yes, it is my Twitter bio. It's on my business business cards that I have many reasons to hand out now. No, I mean, like I ran a zine library for 5 years.
That's right, because you were more punk than me.
Exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm. That is the area of punk. That is the facet of punk that I gravitated towards. And I mean, like Jawbreaker is the zine of bands.
It's true. So we're going to go behind the paywall and we're going to talk about the zine of bands. And I'm going to apologize to my sister again and profusely.